Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Retro Gamers Podcast, episode number 397. Larry here.
And Anthony here.
And what is going on, good sir?
Well, nothing going on. I mean, I'm home, another week has passed by, but you are in a different location.
I am, yes, I am not home. I am traveling. I'm on the road. I was on the road for the Tyson Paul fight.
I see.
And
Wait a
I'm,
minute. I thought the agreement on this show was that I was the one that did the traveling, not you.
you do a lot of travel. Trust me, I am not in Texas. I am, so I've only been to that building twice, and it was for entertainment that I'd prefer with professional wrestling. But no, I'm actually in Brooklyn. I'm at my parents' house this weekend. So, but I did watch the Tyson Paul fight, and it was best fight of the night was the match before the Tyson Paul fight. So
Okay.
it was a women's division match for a
Oh,
title, and
was
it
that
was
match not buffering?
no one of the yeah, no, it didn't buffer as much. Oh my, yeah, Netflix. Get your stuff ready. We got January 6th is when Raw drops on Netflix. So please get your stuff in order, okay?
I have a feeling less people will be watching Raw than watched the Tyson fight.
How
So
dare you, sir? 80% of the world will have access to Raw come January 6th.
I know, and only 0.001 will watch it.
Don't. How dare you? That will bite into my new endeavor, which I'll talk about a little bit in a couple weeks.
Okay.
And speaking of which, we got some good stuff happening today. But before we get started, as far as today's conversation, which you'll see by the title, of course, let's get right. And also, I'm not 100% sure if my laptop is charging as we speak. So we are going to be kind of on the move for this episode.
Yeah, we'll see how far we get. So if we get abruptly cut off and you see the end logo of the show, you know what happened. Larry's
All right,
battery died. So
let's get started. All right.
all right. Well, as usual, we always start with purchases, and I know you're
Yes.
remote, so
Yeah, so I don't have anything, and I don't think I purchased anything. No, I didn't purchase anything anyway. So,
well, there's one thing you did purchase because I purchased the same thing, and we talked about it, I think, last weekend. So,
I've already
and it's not a
forgotten.
game. I didn't buy any games this week.
Mm-hmm.
I have been busy playing Echoes of Wisdom, which I recommended to you, and you regret apparently.
Oh, no, I don't regret it. It's just it's a little more not even a learning curve. It's just I got to get used to it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So,
yeah. I've never encountered a game like this before where you had to rely on switching items so often.
oh my
So
gosh,
yeah,
so
so
often.
like yeah, so I will say like if they do another version of this game, like or like a sequel or whatever, like I would challenge them to find a way to quicken that pace a little bit because sometimes it's a real slog. Like just playing it on my own, I'm like, I go, if there was some way for them to, at least so you can assign three or four to buttons
Yes,
at the same time.
yes.
That way, at least you have your most used items.
Well, I mean, you can sort that. So for
You can
those who
sort,
played,
yes.
yeah, you can
Mhm.
sort it through, which helps a little bit. Because like the stuff you use the most is in the beginning of a list,
Yep.
and then all the new stuff is at the end of the list. So that makes it easy. And actually, just dawned on me, I did buy another game, but we'll talk about that in a second. Um, but yeah, no. Otherwise, yes, it is very daunting to get through those lists to get to what you want,
Yeah.
and to start to remember what's there because as the game goes on, there's what, like over like 100 and something different items that you can copy,
Yeah.
maybe even double that.
Yep.
So I can't even
Yeah.
imagine what's going to look like near the end of the game.
No, and I find that but I find that there are only a handful that you need to rely on to do certain things. So in other words, echoing enemies, you can just choose whatever enemies you want to fight for you, but it's those
Mm-hmm.
other items that you need to use to achieve certain things like the trampoline or the box or the bed or
That's my go-to right now is the trampoline.
the
That's my
no, no,
absolute
no.
go-to.
I use the trampoline for everything. I use the trampoline, I use the crate, I use the tree like for
Yes, the
like
tree.
jumping
Yep,
up.
yep.
And then I use the water cube a lot, which
Okay, I
you
haven't
may
gotten
not
that
you
yet.
may not be
I haven't
yet
gotten
yet.
that yet. Yeah.
But like those four things, I kind of get like that gets me everywhere I need to go for the most part. Like I haven't had to rely on anything but those four things to move
Yeah.
to move to places.
And I'm waiting to level up for the first time my the hero mode or whatever they call it, like where you can actually use a sword.
Oh, you don't have that yet?
No, 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 no. I have that option, but I haven't leveled it up yet.
Oh, I
Like I
got
gotta
it.
keep collecting those. I forgot what they call those cubes or whatever they call.
Not Monster Stones. It was the other things. Yeah, I
Something.
forget
So
what.
yeah,
Yeah, I forget what they call them. I've leveled it
but
up. I've leveled it up twice.
okay.
It definitely makes the game a lot easier when you can turn into Link for a longer period of
Yes,
time. So
yes.
yeah.
So, but I do. I will. I say I recommend it. I'm not saying the game is
Mhm.
bad. I mean, it's no Breath of the Wild, but
No, it's
it's
definitely
definitely
not one of the best games ever made.
terrible game. But it's just like I said, it's just a bit of a learning, not a learning curve, just to get used to it. That's all.
Mhm.
But I am enjoying it. But unfortunately, I purchased another game recently, digitally, and it's a brand new one that has completely overtaken my Switch. But
Okay.
before you get into that, have you purchased anything else? Um,
Yeah, actually, what I was actually going to say, Echoes was not the one I was talking about that we both purchased, which was funny. But no,
oh, now I know what you're talking
yeah,
about.
yeah. So it's November. It's November. We're coming up on Black Friday sales and all that stuff, and
Oh, can't wait.
I'll be keeping an
Yep.
eye on the Black Friday sales for sure. But it's also time to buy the annual video game Christmas ornaments.
Yes.
And and let me tell you something. I don't know if they turned it up a notch this year or if it's been slowly building, but like I was at a Hallmark because there's a Hallmark close actually right by my supermarket. It's very
There's
weird.
still
It's like
physical hallmarks.
there is a physical Hallmark that does not
Wow,
exist inside a shopping mall.
that's even more impressive.
Yeah, it's an outdoor strip, and literally, it's like I go to my supermarket and there's a Hallmark store right there, and I'm like, it's the weirdest thing because I'm like, why are you here? I don't understand it.
Am
But
I
anyway,
am I in the Matrix?
yeah, exactly. So, but they're there, and I wandered in and I saw, like, I don't know, like like maybe 2 dozen video game ornaments now. Originally, like
Wow.
they would put out like 5 or 6. I'm like,
Yeah.
but now there are so many, and not only that, like they're getting way too elaborate. Um,
It's pretty soon it'll be a game
yeah.
system, playable game system hanging on your Christmas tree.
Yes. So like, and I sent you guys a video on Facebook, and I'll throw it in the show
Yeah.
here of the new Sonic
Oh, I saw
ornament,
that
Christmas ornament.
before. Yes. I can't even imagine how heavy it is that it's going to put weight on the branch. That's like one of
Yeah.
the lower that's a lower
Yes.
ornament to hang.
That's a lower ornament so that it can touch the ground if it needs to. And
Exactly.
that's probably what
Exactly.
it, yeah, like, or you have to like rest it on
You
the
do on
tree
another
branches
branch.
instead of
Yes.
hanging it. Like I do that. Well, I do that with a lot of these ornaments because these ornaments are
Hmm.
big. So anyway, getting to the ones that I've only purchased 2 so far. So
Okay.
my usual approach to Christmas ornaments, the video game Christmas ornaments is
You
I'll
know,
buy it.
every time you show your
Hey,
cat,
it's Sammy.
my parents' cat Samson, who has no interest whatsoever.
Wait. No, no, no. Hold on to him. Sammy, say hi to Link.
Oh,
Hello. Now we got dueling
look,
cats. Meow,
look,
meow, 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 meow.
look. Oh, there's
Meow,
another
meow,
kitty.
meow.
There's another kitty.
There's another kitty. We're gonna have fights. Start hissing.
No,
Start hiss
no,
into
Sammy.
the mic. Hiss into the mic. Meow,
Samson is
meow.
Samson. Oh, all right, Sammy, hold on. Jesus.
All right, there they
Okay,
go.
goodbye. Sorry.
So,
Sammy's 10 and he hasn't hissed once in his life.
wow, good for him.
That is a
Well,
true
well,
fact.
actually, Link, I don't think has ever hissed. Snow, on the
And I am
other
now
hand,
all the
oof.
time.
Oh
And I
yeah,
am now look how covered I am. I don't know if you can see it. I am
yeah.
now
No, you
covered.
can't
That
see it.
stupid cat was on me for
Well,
about 20 seconds.
Well, I live in perpetual fur. Like I just like I have white hair. Not him so much, obviously, the white hair from snow all over the place.
Yeah.
So getting back to my Hallmark story, normally what I
Yes.
do when I go to Hallmark is I'll buy like a couple of ornaments before Christmas for my tree. So I add a couple. But then after Christmas I go back because they usually sell them all for like half off.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
They
then
do.
that's when I pick up like all the other ones. And then I also noticed that they also sell like just very like basic ornaments. So not
Hmm.
like the super, like not like the Sonic rings one, like, but like
Yeah.
I saw Princess Peach in the store the other day. And
Okay.
so, yeah, so they have like just regular ones you can put on the tree. But anyway, but I got the
Hmm.
super fancy ones. And I know this is one that you got. This is this is the Xbox, the original
Oh
Xbox
yes.
with the Duke controller.
Look at that
That
giant controller.
monstrosity.
Even on an ornament size, that controller is still ginormous.
Yeah, you can see it's like a quarter of the Xbox.
It really is. It's
It really is.
huge.
But it's really, really cool. And it does play, it has sound.
So
Transposing.
now that makes what? Correct me if I'm wrong. There's an NES now ornament, an SNES, Genesis, a
Mhm.
Dreamcast,
Yep.
and now this Xbox.
And now the Xbox, right? They haven't done a
I don't think
PlayStation yet?
I don't remember
I don't
seeing any Sony ones. I don't remember seeing any
know.
Sony. Period.
No, actually, I think you're
Microsoft and
right. I don't
Nintendo.
remember any
Yeah.
Sony ones either. So yeah, so I think that's what they have so far, and I do have all of them, which is
Me
great.
too. I believe I have all of them as well. Yeah.
I like getting the console. I like getting the consoles more than the regular characters now.
Agreed. Agreed.
More fun. And then speaking of consoles, this isn't exactly a console, but this is a really cool ornament, and I'm happy they did it. But it's a PC with Oregon Trail on it, which is
Yes.
really cool. And it's actually a lenticular. Again, it's hard to see with
With the
uh,
glare, it's all right.
with a glare, but it actually
Put it in
switches from
post.
the yeah, it switches from the menu screen to the screen that says you have died of dysentery, which is the only thing you can have on Oregon Trail. But again, like, it's got the full back monitor
Yeah,
and
another like hefty
really cool.
looking ornament.
Yeah, look, it's got the little plug in the back.
Oh, okay. Yes, yes,
Where
yes.
you put the plug? Yeah.
I was gonna be. I'm like, which light do you have to sacrifice? Because there were back in the day, there were some ornaments that you would take the Christmas tree light off and then plug it in directly
Yes.
into the thing into the
Yeah,
ornament.
that's how you got the ornament to light up.
Exactly,
Yeah, I
exactly.
remember
Now
that.
you have to futz for 20 minutes with a battery to try and get it out of
I
the
know.
casing.
Oh, that was another thing. Like before the show, Larry watched me struggle for like 15 minutes to get
I
the
did.
small batteries out of the pack. It
It
was
was
insane.
hysterical.
But yeah, this one also has the Oregon Trail music, which I'm gonna
Very
throw
cool.
in the show so you guys can hear it, and hopefully I can record the lenticular so you can see that as well. So that's really
Yeah,
cool. But yeah, those are the two ornaments that I picked up.
very cool.
Um,
Yeah, I definitely got the Xbox One. I might pick up the Oregon Trail afterwards. We'll see. I'm definitely looking forward to getting
well,
that tree.
me,
And
I love my Oregon Trail. It's right back there.
oh, great game. And yes, I want to get that as well. I'd love to get that handheld.
Yeah.
And like a normal human being, I'm waiting till after Thanksgiving to put up my Christmas stuff because Thanksgiving always gets lost in the shuffle between
Yeah.
stupid Halloween and then getting all the way through Christmas and New Year's.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny. I still do the same thing too. I usually put it up on Friday. I usually put it up the Friday right after Thanksgiving. Day after is like
Oh, okay, yeah, that's
I go Black Friday shopping
yeah.
and then I put up my tree.
um,
If I'm not too busy cursing after Black Friday.
no, of course. Oh my gosh, we'll see what happens this year because I got my fingers crossed with some deals.
I'm flying
But
home on Black Friday, so I won't be shopping this year.
the other game that I was talking about before that I purchased, a new one which I strongly recommend to everyone,
Ooh.
is the third game in the what they call it gold medal series, I believe they call it, Tetris Forever.
Yes, I saw that it came out.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh! Don't even worry about playing any of the games. The games are fun. But again, Digital Eclipse hits an absolute massive home run with their documentary series.
Mm,
And it plays out just like it does on Atari 50 and it does with the first two
nice.
gold medal, which is Karateka and the John Lamonsoft, I think it's called, or Jeff Lamonsoft collection. And I
Okay.
got to pick those. Honestly, because I mean, Tetris 50 is amazing, and we knew how good it was. But now, see, and technically that should be the first in the gold series, but it's not. Um, but seeing that layout and how they do it in Tetris Forever with the documentary,
Hmm.
um, I might just I'm going to pick up the other two gold series just to complete the collection. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I'm not a huge Karateka fan, but it is a great game. But I'm like excited for the documentary. The price alone is worth the documentary. So,
Okay.
and then the games themselves, they have a replica of the what was that computer called? I just don't have it in front of me. The Electronica 60, the one that Alexei programmed original Tetris on,
Oh, that's really
and
cool.
I mean like a full replica. It's in Russian, so I'm
Nice.
still trying to figure out where the points are. But it's such a good documentary, and the games are fun. I will admit that like proper Tetris games, they have like the replica of that original Russian computer, and then like on the Apple II, they have the Famicom version. And then it goes into those like Tetris and Bombless and Tetris, which are fun games, but you only get like maybe three or four proper, I'll call them Tetris games, different systems that are different than what we've played. So it's still fun. And later, actually, I think next month, December, I think Nintendo's dropping the NES Tetris on the Nintendo Switch Online collection.
Oh, nice.
So that's not part of the collection, but it'll be
Mhm.
on the Nintendo Switch. I mean, to me though, and you know what? This is literally right off the cuff, and I think I know your answer, Ant. But for a game like Tetris, that really it's there's tweaks to them, but the
Mhm.
base game is the base game. Is it possible to have a like perfect version of Tetris? Like what? In other words, to me, the Game Boy version is the
Mhm.
absolute best version to play.
Got it.
You know
Um,
what I mean?
yeah, I don't know. I mean, because the challenge there for me is that I fell in love with Tetris on the NES.
Mm-hmm.
I first played it on the Game Boy at the Nintendo World Championship.
Yes.
And right
Well, I'm sure I
after,
was probably right on line behind you,
yes, exactly.
and we didn't know each other.
I was probably elbowing you to like leave, I was like,
Probably. Like, get
stop,
out of
leave me
here,
alone.
nerd.
But it wasn't too long after that I had a copy at home. Not just for me, my mom and my dad loved Tetris. They absolutely loved Tetris.
Which I
So
mean,
yeah.
Tetris, the legal battles are mind boggling. Which version of Tetris though did you originally have? That Tenjin version, or did you have like the Nintendo like gray
I had
cart or that weird looking black cart?
no. I had the gray cart, but at one point I did also have the Tenjin version, but
Okay,
it
okay.
was one of those ones I think Funco Land ended
Ah,
up
yes,
getting.
yes. Yeah,
Yeah. So,
fair enough.
but yeah, just obviously Tetris is like, one of those games. It's like a must play. Like if you are a video gamer, whether you're a beginner or, you've been playing your entire life, like Tetris is one of those must-haves.
It,
Any version of it. Honestly, any
oh
version
no,
of it.
yeah, yeah. Any version.
Yeah.
It really is, and Alexei says this in the documentary. It's like I'm paraphrasing him. It's the perfect game, but he says like there's no there's no good, there's no bad, there's no trying to destroy something short of like the lines disappearing.
Yeah.
It's just an enjoyable game, and that's what it
Yep.
was. So I have again doesn't matter what system you
For
buy it
most
on.
people.
That's true. Doesn't matter what system you buy it
Yeah.
on. I would definitely get Tetris Forever. Absolutely worth, even full price. I know we're coming up on Black Friday,
Yeah.
but absolutely worth full price. So,
Yeah. And I was going to say, my friend Russell, who I had on the show a couple months ago, I introduced him to Tetris through Tetris Connected on
oh, great,
PS4 or
another
5.
great version. Oh, my beautiful version.
He couldn't handle it.
Really?
Yeah, because he told me, he's like, I told him, I said, yeah, I go, Tetris Connected to me is the perfect game for me to sit down and relax. Like you put the headphones on, you let the music
Hmm.
just go and you play.
That's more music. Yeah, I think that's
Yeah,
more
but
music than anything.
but all he kept saying was, how is this a calm game? He's like, I'm constantly panicking as I'm trying to put the pieces in the right spot. I was like, okay, you're new to Tetris. I get
You
that.
you have a
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
Actually, Tetris Connected is so good. I bought the soundtrack. I bought both soundtracks.
The soundtrack's
Oh,
amazing.
amazing.
Yeah.
So, all right,
Very
but so
cool.
yeah, so that's what I picked up. So,
All right, and that's a good purchase. It's on my list. Trust me.
yeah.
Black Friday, I'm keeping an eye out for Tetris Forever. I still have to buy the Tomb Raider collection that I haven't purchased yet.
Oh, yes, yes, that's right.
Um, the
Me
new
too, actually.
Mario Party Jamboree is on my list.
Yeah.
Mario
So,
and Luigi Brothership is on my list.
so like, here's the thing with Black Friday. Because we're so close, I wouldn't. I mean, yeah, we're 2 weeks away from when we record, so it's where you can wait. But I don't expect the new games to go on sale. You know what I mean? Or at least
Yeah.
not drastically.
No.
Though I did pre-order Tetris Forever, and it was like 10% off on the pre-order, so I did buy
Yeah.
it on a little bit on the sale. But of course, Nintendo,
They
I
never
just
say.
buy those right away
Yeah.
because they barely. Though, like some of the older titles are on sale right now, for like $20 off. I've seen some sales already,
Yeah.
but yes, what I'm going to do because I've noticed this, and what game did I just buy recently that I did this with? Um, Vampire Survivors. I talked about that game. Vampire. It's again
Yes.
a new game that I
Hmm.
fell in love with until Tetris Forever came up, and now I haven't touched Vampire Survivors.
Of
But
course.
but I played a free preview on the Switch, loved it, but then I do this with all the games: Switch, PS5, and Xbox Series X. As
Nice.
much as I prefer the Switch, and like if needed to make a choice, I'm always going to go with Switch. I really am. I don't care what anybody says. I love the Switch. Yeah, maybe some handful of games. But now it's just a matter of which one's cheaper because sometimes there'll be different prices on the different systems. And like Vampire Survivor, I picked up on PS5 only because it was cheaper between the three systems. That was
Right.
the only reason why. Otherwise, it would have been Switch.
Of course. That makes
So
sense.
we'll see how the sales go. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Come Friday, I do have a list, and I'll be bouncing around all three websites price
I
comparison.
have a list as well, and I'll be keeping an eye out. Like I said, I'm actually flying the day after Thanksgiving, so I
Oh,
won't have
fun.
yeah, I won't have a ton of time. But also, like I was just about to say, Walmart. If you go to Walmart in person, like remember how they would sell the games for less
I was
than
just
60?
thinking about
I
this the
don't
other
know if they
day.
still do that.
Yeah, they were, and we mentioned it on the show. I remember we I forgot. We just went to
Yeah.
a Walmart. You were looking to pick up a game, and everything was $10 less.
Yep.
Everything was
Yeah.
$10 less, and it wasn't like it was like well, join Walmart Plus to get the deal. It
No,
just was
just
ten
in
bucks less.
store. Yeah, just in
Yeah.
store. So I'm gonna keep an eye out for that as well. But then the other thing also, like, was Walmart one of the
Actually,
places that said they're gonna stop carrying physical games?
no.
Was
I
that
believe that
Best
was
Buy?
Best Buy.
That
I
was
think
Best
that was
Buy.
Best Buy. I think was stopping physical media. Period.
Period. Yeah.
Good for them. And but
No,
no,
shame on them.
I think Walmart is still going. But to bounce back real quick, speaking of physical versus digital, that $10 cheaper thing almost got me to start buying physical games from
Hmm.
Walmart exclusively,
Yeah.
just because it was cheaper. And then I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna run out really quickly.
Instead you're paying more money to have a license to a game that can be taken away
Don't
from you.
start with this license. It's not taking none of my games have been taken. I'm still playing The Simpsons on the PS3.
Okay.
So The Simpsons arcade game, I should say, on the
All
PS3.
right. Well, all right. All right. Whatever you say. Sure, sure, sure.
And disconnected from the internet as well. So
Well, that's the only way you get to keep it. It's like you can't take it away. I've disconnected you.
how dare you? I should go back. I don't think.
Well, no, but
Oh,
just
I'm
think
not,
like when the Switch 2 comes out, you're gonna have to re-download everything you had on the Switch.
bro. I've already done that on the current Switch. So when I had to upgrade my micro SD card
Yeah.
because I have like 500. I got to be quiet because my parents listen. I have like 500 games on the Switch.
Wow.
So, but all right, but a lot of them are like dollar games.
Right.
So, but I started running out of a room on the memory card.
Hmm.
So I was going to try and just copy on my computer,
Hmm.
but since everything's external on the MacBook that I use, it was literally going to take hours to do, and it slowed my computer down tremendously. So I just threw the new memory card in. It's like a 1 terabyte, and I'm debating to get a 1.5 terabyte. I threw the 1 terabyte into the Switch, and I literally just went to re-download and just re-downloaded everything, let it sit there for like 2 days,
Oh,
and then
wow.
I went back and everything was all good to go. But the
Nuts. You're
Switch 2, I'm
nuts.
hopefully it will just be easy just to move the memory
To
card
move
over. I'm
everything. Yeah,
hoping.
to
Knock on wood.
hopefully. Well, I mean, considering they said it was going to be backwards compatible, I would think you
It
should be
is.
able to just take the card and move it over.
It should be, but we'll see about that when it comes out next year.
We will see about that.
Yes.
But you will not be here to talk about that.
Oh, wow. Hurtful, and you're right.
Ouch, gut punch, but it's true.
Wow. I might be doing my live WrestleMania broadcast. We'll see.
Okay, I'll be sure to not tune in.
Wow. Oh my gosh. The bitterness. There goes your plugs on my show.
uh, that's okay, because There won't be a show you have. Let's see. All right. So what? Okay. So we have Black Friday next week. There's going to be lots of sales. We talk Tetris Forever. Actually, usually this would be the episode where we talk about what's on sale Black Friday. But at this point now, um, looking at ads and everything like that, like I feel like it doesn't even
It
Black
doesn't really
Friday.
matter.
Yeah, Black Friday doesn't have the same
No,
weight that it used to because like
no, that
every year I used to go, sorry, every year I used to go to bfads.com or
okay.
bfads.net and they would have every Black Friday and they probably still do. I'm like, but at this point, because Black Friday kind of starts November 1st and everybody
Sure
throws up
does.
Black Friday stuff all over the place, it's really it doesn't matter anymore. At this point, it's like just go online and you just go online, go to your sites that you used to, and you just find them there.
I mean, Black Friday, Cyber Monday,
There was a
Amazon Tuesday,
there was
whatever.
a Prime Day in October.
Yeah,
It's like, yeah,
and
there's
another
stuff
one's
all over
coming,
the
I
place.
think. Yeah.
Yeah, there's
So
stuff
you're
all over
right.
the place. Yeah.
Everything's on sale, so just go online and check it out. But still, it'll be fun to see what to pick up that
Yes.
week after Black Friday. Oh, and programming note, we'll drop it here now. Speaking of next week's episode, it's Thanksgiving, so we're actually going to put up a lost episode
Yes.
that basically I edited incorrectly. So that will go up the week up. Basically, is that going to be the Tuesday before Thanksgiving? Yes,
It'll be the
the Tuesday.
Tuesday before Thanksgiving.
Yep,
Thanksgiving. It'll
Tuesday before
be
Thanksgiving.
the 26th of November.
Yes. So just programming note, check that out. I mean, listen anyway. It's a good one. All right, folks, if you're traveling in a train, on a boat, on a plane, not while driving, though, it's a little dangerous when driving, and you want to kill some time, there's only one magazine out there to peruse and check out for all your retro gaming needs.
Yes, it's called Old School Gamer Magazine, and it's not the only one out there, but it's a pretty great one.
Yes, it's amazing. No, it's a great magazine. It's
Yeah.
got some amazing articles, especially again on old school games.
Yes,
You can
love mine.
subscribe. You can subscribe at oldschoolgamer.com
Yep.
and just check out the magazine. It's a fantastic magazine. You can let them know the Retro Gamer sent you. You're not going to save money on it, but hey, at least they'll know people will listen.
Yep, and you know what? And it's a great opportunity to support, another way of people getting to learn about retro gaming or to reminisce about retro gaming. So Sammy here loves his he just meowed.
Did you hear?
Yep,
Yes,
see?
hey,
Yep, Sammy
that's
meowed his approval, his stamp of approval for Old School Gamer magazine. So
as he's about to bite me in the face. Oldschoolgamer.com. Go check it out. All right, we have a very big retro birthday to celebrate today. One that I'm very excited about, actually.
yes, and rightfully so, because on November 21st, 2004, this little handy dandy system dropped into, the hands and hearts of many a gamer, me not included.
It's the Nintendo DS celebrating its
Yes.
20th anniversary.
Yeah. Which is perfect timing for me because I just got one.
You did. You got a 3DS, yeah, and which
Yes.
obviously backwards compatible. But yeah, your venture into handheld gaming definitely late in life.
Yes.
Me, I am trying to remember. I'm pretty sure I was there day one, excuse me, for
Mhm.
the Nintendo DS. One of the rare occasions that the system came out in North America before Japan.
Yes. Yes. It came out in Japan, I think in January of '05.
Well, so
Or was it December?
December 2nd, 04 it dropped in Japan.
Ah,
Australia got it February 24th of 05, and Europe got it March 11th of 05. But we got it November 21st, as you said, of
that's right.
2004. This amazing little handheld, which was, and I remember watching E3 that year when I believe it was Reggie Fils-Aimé who debuted the Nintendo DS. Just takes his console out of his pocket, showed it off. This amazing two-screen system. How is that going to work? What is happening? Wait a
Nice.
minute. One of the screens is touchscreen. Like this again. Nintendo. To me, the DS really showed off. Nintendo's always looking to move forward with technology, whether it works or not. They're always trying and moving forward with technology. And I
Mhm.
think and I remember reading about this, like, how they were trying to factor in like touch screen and everything. And just the form of the original DS we're talking about now. For those who
Yep.
remember, just the way the original DS looked, not completely different, but different enough from the other versions that I'll touch on. But I remember the original Nintendo DS, and I got the gray one. It was, I wouldn't say bulky, but it was definitely heftier for a handheld system than
Hefty, you
normally.
say?
As
Hefty.
hefty, hefty, hefty,
Oh,
hefty.
hi, you're
Oh,
hefty.
he's gonna swing at you. He's gonna cut you
You
right
are
open.
hefty.
Good lord.
It's okay, keep going.
Um, and what was great about the DS, we were just talking about the Switch 2 and backwards capability. Again, Nintendo was there with backwards capability because the original Nintendo DS was able to play Game Boy Advance games,
Hmm.
which was amazing. Now, I think a couple weeks ago we were talking about the Nintendo DS or 3DS, and I mentioned that it could play Game Boy and Game Boy Color as well. I apparently, again, this memory only so much is staying up there.
It's
I
it's only
remember,
as good as the unfun gamer correction.
yeah, and he's gonna lock it in. So don't blame me. Blame Wikipedia on this one. I could have sworn I played Game Boy and Game Boy Color games on the DS, but apparently not. That it was only Game Boy Advance games
Well,
were able to be played.
that makes sense because I mean they created a slot specifically for the Game Boy Advance games. They would have had to create another slot for the Game Boy, no?
No, 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 not no, because the Game Boy Advance was backwards compatible with the Game Boy and Game Boy Color. So that's what I'm saying. I could have sworn in my head, but to be fair, I was probably thinking of when I was playing my Game Boy Advance SP, which is another clamshell
Oh yeah.
type system. So maybe that's what I was thinking of because the
Could
Game
be.
Boy games stick out when you're
Yeah.
playing them. So you know what? Now that I think about it, that's probably what I was thinking about. But still,
Okay.
to have the one system to play at that point, which were majority Game Boy Advance games that were new anyway, on top of the DS games, and playing some of these games with the dual screen. Oh my gosh! Some of the games that I'll mention, I won't go into details, but mention taking advantage of that dual screen capability. Like Nintendo nailed it. Some of the third party companies actually messed it up a little bit, but I'll get into that in a little bit. Ant, did you ever? I'm sure I have it. Well, actually, no. I was in right out of college. I think you were already on the on the West Coast, so
Yes.
it's not like I could have
Well,
brought it over and then you mock me right then and there for having a
um,
system.
I probably mocked you anyway. I mean, I'm pretty good at that. But I think no, it came out 2 years before I moved to the
Oh,
West
okay,
Coast.
okay,
So it was around for a little while, but and so I'm sure you would have shown it to me. But again, at that point, it just would have been one of those things where it's like, I'm not a big handheld gamer. It was never a
yeah.
thing for me. So when the DS came out, literally like the same thing with the Game Boy Advance. Like when the Game Boy Advance and the DS came out, right over my head, no interest. I needed a console that hooked up to the TV. Plus, at the time, I was really like head over heels for Xbox and PS2. So much
Mm-hmm.
so that like my GameCube, like most of the standard Nintendo games released on the GameCube, I never even bought because I had moved on. I moved on from that system quicker than I should have.
Yeah, GameCube is so underrated in my opinion. Like when you look
Oh,
back on it, but that's
absolutely.
another
No.
story for another
Yeah,
time.
it absolutely is. But but at the point, but when we're talking about like, especially with handhelds, it's like
Yeah.
because like DS, Game Boy Advance, PSP, Vita, all of those things never registered with me at all.
Yeah.
If they had an opportunity to, um, if there was a possibility to play them like on a TV or something, I probably would have paid more attention to them.
Mm-hmm.
But
You mean
eh,
like a Super Game Boy?
like a Super Game Boy, which I never bought. But I'll be honest with you in my defense for the Super Game Boy. I don't think I knew it existed then. I don't.
Did you subscribe to Nintendo Power?
At that point, no.
Oh, okay, never mind.
So Super Game Boy, yeah, Super Game Boy to me showed up on my radar years later,
Hmm.
years later. In fact, I would like to get one now, just for fun.
I would. So I recommend trying to find a Super Game Boy 2 because it kind of
Yes.
fixes some of the. Even though there was no issues when I was a kid watching it, but supposedly the Super Game, well, not
Yeah.
supposedly, Super Game Boy clocks a little differently than the original Game Boy or whatever. I
Yeah,
don't know.
because I have my big giant Sony Trinitron sitting here when Jack shows up and brings back the parts. So once that's
The
hooked up,
knob.
Yes, the knob to turn it on. Once that's hooked up and I can hook up my Super Nintendo to it and actually play off my Super Nintendo, I would love to have that Super Game Boy so I can go back and play all of
Definitely
that
worth it.
stuff.
Definitely
But
worth
getting
it.
back to the DS,
Yeah.
just the little bit of DS that I can share with you guys is just the fact that, you know, I bought the 3DS about a year or two ago when I was at Game
Just
On.
about. Yeah. Yeah.
Year or two ago at Game On. Have yet to play it. Again, this just proves my history with handhelds. Like I have the 3DS, I've yet to play it. I I downloaded a bunch of games when the shop was going to close.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So I did download a bunch of games. So I have a bunch of games sitting on it, and I do have a few 3DS games specifically. I think I bought most of the Zelda games on the
Okay.
3DS.
Good. Good.
So they're all sitting there, yet to play it. And then a few weeks ago, when I was with John and Jonathan at their recycling event, they gave me a DS that somebody recycled. So,
Mm.
and I showed that off. I
That's the
think I
one that you
showed that
showed
off.
off. Yes.
That's the one I showed off, and it was the original DS. I think that had it has the Game Boy Advance slot, so
It
you can play
does.
Game Boy
Yep. Yep.
Advance.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's where I said you can play Game Boy and Game Boy Color. So I'm shocked
yeah.
no one called me out on that then.
Well, I'll call you out now. You were wrong, even though you already called out yourself.
Some things I'm not going to miss.
Don't worry, we'll follow you over to wrestling because if anybody can correct you on that, it would be me.
Oh, what are you kidding me? I'll get nothing wrong over
Want to bet?
there.
But anyway, but yeah, with the DS, like I said, me personally, I have zero experience with the DS because I did not own one.
Fair enough.
The best I can do now is go back and collect all of the best games that were on it so that I can have
Hmm.
them in my collection to play at some point in time.
Yeah, some great game, but also at the same time, a lot of these great games are now being released for the newer systems. We'll get into that in a few moments.
Of course.
But yeah, no, the Nintendo DS again, the revolutionary having the touch screen on it, which was a literal game changer. I'm not, I don't mean to be punny on that, but it changed how to play games, and it was so not all of them, but a lot of games were so fluid in using the touch screen
Mm,
that it just became second nature, using that as the controller base. And then it was able to go online, which at the time very simple, very native. But back then it was like, oh, okay, I can surf a little bit
yeah.
with my DS. To get into some of the specifics, though, it's considered seventh generation of gaming systems, and it was the introductory price was $149.99, which uh, in 2023 would be almost $242, which
Wow.
kind of makes
Okay.
sense. It sounds like that's about right.
That sounds about right.
Um, 154 million units sold worldwide as of end of June of 2016. So
Wow.
definitely everyone but Anthony getting a copy of this.
More or less. But
Play cartridge.
unlike you, I won't irrationally bash it the way you do Tears of the Kingdom.
Irrational is a subjective term.
No, it's pretty objective on this one.
The best-selling game on the system, New Super Mario Brothers, at 30.8 million units sold, and that game, New Super Mario Brothers, which ended up launching New Super Mario Brothers Wii, New Super Mario
Mm,
Brothers U, which became U Deluxe on the Switch.
yeah.
Again, when you look back on some of these games, my personal memory of the original DS, and I remember this as well when I mentioned how some of the games are now being released from modern systems. The Castlevania Dominus collection
Yes.
that just came out, which is amazing, is a collection of the three DS games, Castlevania DS games, Portrait of Ruin, Dawn of Sorrow, and Order of Ecclesia. And I said those out of order. The reason why I said that out of order is because A, didn't realize it, but B, the naming scheme. So when the Super
Hmm.
Nintendo came out, right, everything was Super.
Right.
Super Mario Brothers, Super Star Wars, Super Tennis, whatever it was. The N64 comes out, Super Mario 64, Excite Bike 64. You know what I mean? Everything has 64 in it. So when the DS came out, a lot of titles had DS in their name.
Right.
Dawn of Sorrow, Super Mario DS, Super Mario 64 DS. So Nintendo always sticking with the naming the way the names go, which is always entertaining to watch.
Except the GameCube. GameCube didn't have that.
No, because it seems like, yeah, it did skip with the game because they didn't put out enough games. I think that was the
Well,
problem.
you also can't like. I mean, how weird does it sound? Luigi's Mansion GameCube.
GC, fully GC.
Yeah.
I think in one of the Luigi's Mansions game, was it in the first one? No, it wasn't in the first one. But the Luigi's Mansion games are fun because sometimes the communicator that you use is whatever the handheld is at the time.
Mm.
One I think was a Game Boy Advance. One was a DS. What in the newer one I think it was a Virtual Boy. So that's always fun to
Was it
see
that piece of
in
trash?
that. How dare you, sir? Get them all out now while you can.
Oh no, no, that's gonna be dogging you for the rest of your days.
Here's an interesting quote that I just came across about the DS.
Okay.
And this was the, at the time, would have been just the prior Nintendo president, Hiroshi Yamauchi. I am butchering that. The guy before Iwata. Iwata. And he said, quote, or at least translated from Japanese, if the DS succeeds, we will rise to heaven. But if it fails, we will sink to hell. So
Wow.
apparently Nintendo had a lot riding on this system. I didn't realize how much they had riding on
Well, you have to. Okay, so let's go back to that point in history. I mean, if you think about it at the time, the GameCube wasn't successful,
it. No, it was
and
lukewarm, as people say.
it was right. And Sony and Microsoft blew it out of the water. Sega had gone out of the hardware business, and Nintendo was suffering. And if you remember at the time, there was actual chatter going on of is Nintendo in trouble? Is
I
Nintendo
remember
going to
that.
wind up going under? That was around that time
I do
because
remember that. Yeah,
the GameCube was considered a failure. Maybe not, you know, Nintendo's always had their own uh, ways of gauging success.
they walk to their own beat.
Yeah, like
So
they've always said that that's what they do, but I think it was at that time, probably the only time in our lives or in the video game history for Nintendo where they seemed like they were in trouble. So
yeah, I remember
yeah,
that. Yeah,
so I can see the DS being that like make or break system of like this is either going to keep us going in terms of creating hardware or we have to like, readdress our, what we're going to be doing moving forward. Granted, I'm
yeah,
sure the Wii was already well into development at that time. But
probably.
yeah, but at the same time, it's like you need to keep earning in order to keep, producing things. So so that quote actually sounds about right to me.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
We got some great launch titles here in North America. Different ones, of course. Europe got so many launch titles. It was wicked. But the North
Well,
American launch
March.
titles,
Remember
yeah, I'm just
yeah.
yeah, no, they were definitely ahead of the game there. Here the North American there's about six or seven of them. Asphalt Urban GT,
Hmm.
Feel the Magic XYXX, Madden NFL 2005, Metroid Prime Hunters First Hunt. That one I think I have. Spider-Man 2, Super Mario 64 DS, and the
Hmm.
Herbs Sims in the City.
Yes. Herbs.
Yeah. Um, Super Mario 64 DS. So this was Super Mario 64 on the DS. And
Yeah.
I remember I picked this game up, and actually I do remember vividly going, "Uh-oh, is this a mistake?" Because when the DS first came out, those who know familiar with a 3DS, there was no analog stick on the original DS. It was just straight up D-pad, four buttons, and two shoulder buttons. And to play Super Mario 64 with just the D-pad, let
Hmm.
alone any 3D game with just a D-pad, very challenging. Ask anyone with an Evercade who try and play some 3D games. It's tough to play with just the directional pad. But what Nintendo did, so they gave you like a wrist strap to attach to the DS. So if you let go of it, it just hangs off your wrist. But on the I'm just remembering this now actually. On the strap was this thing that you wrap around your thumb that was like a stylus for your thumb.
Oh,
And
okay.
then what happened was the touch screen became the controller. So the touchscreen became, I would dare say, that's got to be before, yeah, that was before the iPhone came out. Before it was for a little while commonplace to have like on a touch screen to be the controller setup,
Right.
which to this day to me still doesn't work. At least for me, I can't do that when it's a
I no,
virtual. Can't.
I can't
And it
can't
was
do it.
tough to do. I couldn't play this. I literally could not play this game, and I wanted to because they read like Super Mario 64 DS had Mario, Wario, Yoshi, and Luigi as playable characters. So the game and had like maybe 50 more stars or something like that.
Oh
Don't
wow.
quote me. Yeah, it's definitely expanded enough to be a different game. But to play on that touchscreen was so difficult
And you
that you
couldn't
couldn't do.
and you couldn't assign it to like the D-pad or anything
No, no,
on
no, no.
the.
You could use the D-pad, but it was even in my opinion, it was even worse trying to use the D-pad
Yeah,
to
because
play
that
those
game you
games.
need the actual
A hundred
like a
percent.
joystick type of
Yeah,
thing.
you need the N64 controller,
You need the answer, yeah,
basically.
basically.
You do. So I remember getting that one. I'm like, this is no fun. To the point where actually I sold back Super Mario. I was so frustrated. I sold back Super Mario 64
Oh
DS.
wow. Okay.
I haven't repurchased. I should repurchase it now because now the 3DS has the controller scheme to work. And in fact, later on, like talking about peripherals and everything for the DS, and it had its fair share of
Peripherals,
peripherals.
yeah.
One of them, when Kid Icarus came out, they actually made like an adapter that had a controller on it that to
Hmm.
use like that. So I don't know why I never picked it up, and it just it just plays Super Mario. But it had an adapter for that. The Guitar Hero series or Rock Band, no Guitar Hero, was on the DS. Now you're like, how do you play Guitar Hero on DS? Simple. That Game Boy Advance, you would put in that part an adapter that would have the four chords to play,
Yep.
and then you just play the DS on its side. So
Interesting.
there were actually a lot of games that you played sideways. So instead of the screens being up and down, they were side by side, almost
Yeah.
like a book. So in fact, there were some books that came out I'm pretty sure the Bible is on the Nintendo DS, and you read it sideways. So they really try doing a lot with the DS, which I think is pretty cool. Um, without before getting to the 3DS, the DS did get its fair share of kind of revisions, if you will, which I upgraded to each one.
Of
From the
course.
Nintendo DS, went to the Nintendo DS Lite, which was a smaller version of the system, as a lot of systems do. They
Yep.
kind
No,
of
thank
shrink.
you.
Then it went to the DSi, which was like kind of like it was bigger than the original DS, so already starting to work in its favor. And of course, some upgrades internally and stuff like that. The DSi is where they started doing exclusive DSiWare games, which were some of them, which I didn't realize still doing the research. Some of the DSi games, there weren't many exclusive DSi games,
Hmm.
but there were physical exclusive DSi games I never knew. I knew of exclusive digital hence DSiWare is what they call like WiiWare, DSiWare. And I had some of those, but I didn't realize till now that there was cartridges that were DSi exclusives.
Ah,
Um, and then from DSi, I went to DSi XL. So you know what? We made it bigger. Let's make it bigger again. So then they expanded it, and then the 3DS, and this is where
yes.
we're at.
Well, I approve of
Um,
the XL version because at least it's a
yeah, no,
bigger
the XL
screen.
version. I remember getting that one. I'm like, this is bulky. This is like that screen is definitely worth it.
Now,
Def
did they ever come out with a wire to hook it up to your TV?
Absolutely not. No.
See, lost.
Well, I mean, I'm sure. I mean, if you knew someone, I'm sure because yeah, I mean, development systems, I'm sure hooked up to televisions. They had to for monitors, but
Well,
to
of
the
course.
general public, no.
Yeah, and see, and that bums me out because again, like I missed out on a lot of good games.
You missed out on a ton of games. There were over 3,000 games
Wow.
released for the Nintendo DS.
And
Um,
2,000 of them were re-releases
well, a
from
lot of
NES, Super
re-releases.
Nintendo, and N64.
A lot of actually, no. All joking aside, that would be the Game Boy Advance. The Nintendo
Hmm.
DS really didn't get too many re. The 3DS started re-releasing some stuff, which was forget
Oh,
about it.
yes, they did.
But no, but for the most part, again, all joking aside, it really didn't get re-releases, and that's something odd because yes, Nintendo, the Switch should just be called the re-release.
It really
Um,
is.
But meanwhile, we're buying
Yeah.
everything, so it don't
The
matter.
Switch is like, so you all didn't buy the Wii U? Fine. You're gonna buy all these games on the Switch now.
Of course, too many to mention, but I'll give you. Oh, before I give you kind of my top three DS games, this is fun to read. Well, you know what, Ant? You can take this part out? Do you have any other facts or any facts of the DS that you had pulled up or anything?
No, I do not.
Okay,
I had left this up to you because
no, that's fine.
you are the handheld guru. And in fact,
All right,
all
yeah.
future handheld episodes you are required to appear on.
so I'll be. So I'm leaving at episode 400. Episode 401 would be about the Game Boy Micro.
Yeah, probably.
So I'll be right back. Um, there's an interesting list of canceled Nintendo DS games, and it's always fun to see these canceled
Yeah,
games.
I love hearing about games that almost made it.
Almost made it. Some of the ones that almost made, I'm just going to read a couple of them. A Boy and His Blob was going to get a make on
Oh,
it.
I would have
Yep.
liked that.
We were going to get a copy of Batman Arkham Asylum. That would have been interesting to
Okay,
see. Crash Tag Team Racing would have been like
nice.
Mario Kart DS. Mass Effect was going to be on there. A version of Pokemon Pinball, which is an amazing Game Boy Advance game, Pokemon
Okay.
Pinball. And a different version. So again, the legal battles of Tetris, even in 2004, apparently Nintendo had put out a version of Tetris for the DS,
Hmm.
but apparently THQ was going to put out their version of Tetris. And the Tetris company, who owns the rights, like, nope, we're just giving it to Nintendo. Then some sort of lawsuit went on from there, which THQ lost. But to see, again, battle, it's weird how so many companies go after Tetris to put out multiple copies of it. When you would think on a Nintendo system, it's locked in with Nintendo. But
I know you would assume that.
now here's the one I wanted, because I didn't know about this till I doing the research here. There was going to be a Final Fantasy Tactics styled, or if you will, Shining Force styled Legend of Zelda game that they were
Ooh.
planning for the DS.
Oh, I would love to play a version of that.
Yeah, I never it would have been called Heroes of Hyrule.
Okay.
Let's see. I'm just going to read this verbatim. It's a short paragraph from Wikipedia. After the completion of Metroid Prime 2, developer Retro Studios created a pitch for a Final Fantasy Tactics style game in the Legend of Zelda universe. A 22-page design document alongside a written premise, setting, and concept art was created and pitched to Nintendo. The pitch was immediately rejected. While no exact reason was given, the speed of the rejection led the development team to believe that Nintendo did not have an interest in allowing the franchise to branch out into new genres, which is interesting because fast forward and we have the Hyrule
Hyrule
Warriors game.
Warriors. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
interesting that yeah, because I think that would have been that could have been a great game to play. Because again,
I
we love Shining Force, so we love the tactic style.
I can't even imagine. Like in my head, I'm already coming up with scenarios on how this game could play out, and like
Yep.
some of the side, characters from existing games already.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Well,
So,
you could almost see, and again, maybe one day they'll revisit the idea, but the Link's Awakening Echoes of Wisdom graphics on the
mhm.
Switch that they're doing like those Zelda games with, doing that in a tactic style would actually be really cool.
Oh, 100%, hundred
Yeah.
percent. So yeah, so a very interesting list of canceled games. My three favorite games on the DS.
You beat me to my question because that's what I was gonna ask you.
Oh, okay. In no particular order, but
Okay.
they each have their reasons why. Um, Castlevania: Dawn of Sorrow, the first
Okay.
Castlevania game to come out on the DS, and I remember like it was yesterday picking this game up, and this is probably one of the last handheld games that I really played hours on end each night. I
Okay.
would just lay down on my couch. I'd have DS in my hand and I just lay down and just play. And the time flew by during the season. I mean, everyone can play Dawn of Sorrow now on their modern systems and it still holds up. It's still an amazing game to play. But I just remember just losing hours playing this game, how perfect, in my opinion, it was, especially on the DS, because that is a game that uses the stylus very heavily, um,
Okay.
especially in boss battles. You have to draw out symbols and everything,
Ah,
seals, if
interesting.
you will. Oh my gosh, yeah. So when I say the modern systems don't do it justice, I don't mean that in a bad way because they do tweak it to make it work on the modern systems. But going back and doing it on the DS, oh my gosh, it was French kiss. And
Chef's
I
kiss.
also, yeah, I also remember my hands cramping up. This is why I didn't like the originally designed DS. Just the way
Mm.
the buttons were laid out, and they were kind of tiny enough that I my hands were constantly cramping up, just gripping that DS and just doing what I got to do. These thumbs, these are big hands, and for small systems, usually don't work for hours on end. But that didn't stop me. That didn't deter me. I kept playing through, and I remember completing Dawn of Sorrow, and I was very happy with
Okay.
that. Tetris DS. We talked about Tetris, and we talked about like the best version of Tetris. In my opinion, the Game Boy version of Tetris will be the number one. The number two version is Tetris DS. This was
Wow.
a
Okay.
game,
Interesting.
yeah, put out by Nintendo. Um, Very addicting. Again, addicting to play. What was fun about Tetris DS is they incorporated a lot of Nintendo games into it, more backgrounds and the music style. And as the levels progress, as the levels progress, maybe even every 10 levels, it would switch to a different, like it started Super Mario Brothers. Then it went to Zelda. Then it might have went to Metroid. So that and just again being very addicting. And I can't remember what caused me to do this. I can't remember exactly, but at one point, this is years later, like a couple of years ago, I did this, and I remember all of a sudden I just got sucked into Tetris. It might have been after watching the Tetris movie on
Oh,
Netflix, not
could have
Netflix,
been.
on Apple TV. Tetris, which was a great movie. Yes, I think that's what. Because then
I
I
still have
went
to watch
back.
that. I don't have Apple TV.
Yeah, and it's not available. It's available streaming anywhere else, but it's a great movie. Great movie. Especially after watching the documentary and you kind of put two and two together.
Mm.
It's like based on there's some stuff that they exaggerated, but overall, that Tetris movie. Side note, there's another documentary called The Tetris Murders that came out a couple years ago.
No, I do not.
I don't think this is in the Tetris Forever documentary, but apparently some programmer or something like was found dead, and there was this whole conspiracy behind it. It came out in 22, and it's like 4 episodes. It's like $7 online right now. I might pick it up.
Okay.
It just threw me off. I'm like, what is this? Anyway, Tetris DS
I
was the
thought I
first
thought
Tetris.
I thought you were going to talk. I'm sorry, not to interrupt,
Yeah, yeah.
but I thought you were going to talk about it as if it was an actual TV show, not a
No,
real like
no,
documentary type
it
of
was a
thing.
documentary.
Because then in my head, I started to picture Will Arnett in that detective show that he did a couple of years
Oh
ago,
yes, yes, yeah. I forgot the name of that show, but I know what
where
you're
they had
talking
the
about.
get
Yeah.
where they had the guest
Yep.
stars that had to solve the mystery.
Yep.
I was like,
That would have been good.
the
You
Tetris
see,
Murders with Will Arnett. Yes.
like a straight tetramino just sticking out of someone's chest.
And that's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, oh, I go, someone got killed with the long piece.
No, man, that
Whatever
would
the
have been
name of
funny.
it is.
No, I thought it was a regular show too, and I'm looking. I'm like, oh, this is a documentary.
Well, that
Uh,
makes
so
it
Tet-
frightening.
so Tetris. So when I went back and I played Tetris DS, like that's where the first time I experienced the Tetris effect.
Hmm.
Everyone's always talking. I know this is a Tetris episode, but everyone talked about the Tetris effect, where when you play Tetris long enough, you see it in real life. Anything that you
Hmm.
do, you see Tetris. And I remember I played Tetris DS so much, I started getting that for real to the point where I can't remember the level, but for the first time in my life, I definitely hit. I'm sure I hit triple digit levels in Tetris DS.
Nice.
That's how I can't do it now. I lost
That's
my
crazy.
skill, but no, I was locked in on that. So I remember that being a favorite game of mine as well. My
Nice.
third favorite game, and I know these aren't blockbusters. These are just my favorite games.
Yeah.
Is a game called Elite Beat Agent, and I've talked about this before in
I
passing.
don't
Elite Beat
remember you
Agents.
talking about this before.
Very briefly, I talk about it, and every Christmas, I think about it over and over again. It's a game. It's a rhythm game. So it
Sounds like one.
has yeah no, and you hit with the stylus.
Yep.
You hit the screen to the beat of the song, and sometimes you got to move it. You just beat it, but it's real songs,
Okay.
actual song. In fact, like to the point where let me see.
Kind of like Fantavision, except using the stylus.
Correct. And like it game so and now the original artists didn't do it. No, they were
Oh
all
wait, I'm
cover
sorry,
artists.
not Fantavision. What am I
I know what
thinking
you're
of?
talking about. You're talking about like
Amplitude,
amplitude and
and
frequency.
frequency, not
Frequency.
Fantavision.
You know, amplitude.
Fantavision was the fireworks one.
That was the other, which I always mean to pick up, but I never do.
It's on the. I think it's on. If you have the PlayStation
I think it is. I
subscription,
think
it's
it
on
is.
there.
And there's a PS4 version of Amplitude that
Yes,
I
I know.
have. It's
Hmm.
digital only. It's very fun.
Yeah.
So it has games. It has songs like Skater Boy, Material Girl, September by Earth, Wind and Fire, YMCA. So real songs done by cover artists, but
Right.
real songs. They even got Jumpin' Jack Flash, Believe,
Wow.
ABC. No, like songs. And then you get to a game to a level. Oh, forgive me. Where is there it is. Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Apologize. Then you get to a level, and let me back for a second. So what happens is there's a scenario playing out on the top screen, and you play with the beats on the bottom screen. And if you mess up, the scenario plays out in a negative way. And of course,
Hmm.
if you nail it, it plays out in a positive way. So it's kind of hard to do both. You have to get used to it to start looking at both screens because you want to see what's happening. Well, you get to a level that plays a song that is loving to all of us.
Uh-oh. What song
No,
would that
everything
be?
just. Oh, there it is. Okay. By Chicago, You're the Inspiration.
Ah, I love that song.
I never get emotional at playing video games. I cried like a baby when I played this level in Elite Beat Agents.
Huh.
So you have the song, you're the
Yeah.
inspiration. Very moving song. It's a touching song. It can be a touching song. Again, originally done by Chicago. We'll give credit Julian Miranda, who's the one who actually sang the song on the game. The level plays out. You're a little girl named Lucy saying goodbye to your father, who's going on a business trip on
Oh my.
Christmas. Next thing you know, his plane crashes.
What?
And now you have to play the songs to the beats, and you see her reaching out to her father, who you see now as this, the phantom
Oh my
reaching back out
gosh.
to her.
No.
It is the most depressing level
How
of
is that?
any game in history.
How is that in a DS game?
It through I don't know how it made it into a DS game, but and when you
I
every
thought you
time
were.
you mess up the
I
song,
thought you were gonna say like if you play the song correctly, his plane doesn't crash. I thought you were going there. No, he's
no,
dead.
he's dead no matter what. When you
Wow.
mess up the song, he starts going away.
Oh my God.
He starts distancing himself. And all you hear is like, "You're the reason of my
Oh.
life. You're the," and when it hits that chorus, "You're the inspiration." I can't. I lose it every
That's
time I play
insane.
this level. Folks, look it up on YouTube, or better yet, if you have the game, go play it.
Okay.
It is the most depressing level of all time. And that is why Elite Beat Agents is always going to be one of my favorite DS games of all
Unbelievable.
time. The level is called A Christmas Gift.
That is not a Christmas gift.
Oh, it is wicked.
Wow.
So kind of to wrap this part up, the DS, great new, like, I won't even say it was the next generation from the Game Boy. Like, the Game Boy ended with the Game Boy Advance, or Game Boy Micro if you want.
Right.
And then the DS starts on its own, and where we're at now with the 3DS, well, where we were with the 3DS, is just leaps and bounds beyond what anyone could have imagined. But they nailed it again with the two screens. The only thing I would say is I wish they did more with bringing back, like we joked about it before, re-releasing stuff.
Hmm.
They, to bring back a lot of the dual screen Game and Watch games, which they had the Game and Watch series, which is a great series on Game Boy and Game Boy Advance. And you work through points, kind of like how Nintendo has points now, platinum and gold points.
Yep.
You were able to collect platinum points, and I actually do I have both of them? I might have both of them through Nintendo website. You were able to purchase with points two special edition DS games that did have collections of Game and Watch games on them, but it wasn't necessarily sold to the public. I mean, now you can find them, of course, secondhand.
Of
But
course.
I wish they did more with that part. But beyond that, I really don't have any complaints. Nintendo DS, phenomenal system. It hit right at the right time, in my opinion, as well.
Mhm.
And the legacy lives on today with the DS.
Which is awesome. And and the cool thing about it now for me is that I get to discover it more or less for the first time 20 years later.
You do, and a lot of that's fun as well. I'll get you Elite Beat Agents.
You know what? I don't need anything that emotional. Thank you. Um,
So I will say this: I'm not
although
gonna.
I'll make a deal with you. I'll play that if you play Rhyme on the PS5.
What's Rhyme?
Rhyme, Rime. It's a third person game. I guess I would consider it's a little bit adventure, a little bit puzzle type of thing.
Okay, a little bit country.
It's not a very long game, but it's a beautiful game. The soundtrack is one of the soundtracks I play on repeat on YouTube when like just literally throughout like a regular day
Okay.
because it's probably one of my favorite soundtracks in a video game ever. But just the game itself, story-wise, absolutely beautiful. Rhyme, Rime.
Is anyone getting into a plane crash and trying to reach out to their dead parent?
No,
I don't know if I'm gonna play it. No, I'll take a look at it. I'll definitely take a look at it.
take a look at
I'll
it.
give it a shot. Yeah,
And
absolutely.
if you do that, I will play Elite Beat Agent, and then I will show up on an episode bawling like a baby.
So I also for like when the episode start when the I'll say this then we'll move on. When the level started, and I'm not making a joke or anything. I literally thought this. I'm like, because we're like 3 years removed or something from it.
Yep.
I'm like, is this is he's getting on a plane. Where's he flying out of? Where's he going to? I kind of thought it was like a 9/11 thing.
Oh,
And then I'm like, oh wait, no, it's Christmas. Okay, we're good. All right, good. He dies during Christmas. Much better.
jeez.
So I'm good. So,
Wow. Enough
but
said.
yeah, Nintendo DS, go check it out. All right, Ant. Well, it's time for game of the week.
It is time for the game of the week, and for the first time ever for game of the week, this was a two-parter.
It was unfortunately
Well, let me rephrase that.
very much.
It was like 1 1/8, really, as opposed to a two-parter.
So last week, Anthony played Legend of Zelda on NES, and he played the first quest, and he played through it in about 2 hours and change. Great run, beautiful run. Anthony knew exactly what he was doing. He knew exactly where he was going. Nailed it perfectly. Great. Go watch it on our YouTube. Great, great run. And as always, because I've seen you run through Legend of Zelda on my 3DS while waiting to get into New York Comic Con.
That is correct. That is the most time I've ever put into a handheld ever.
You did, and you never complained about the handheld. I don't think tell you that much. You were sitting there and you were
I
playing.
was bored. We were in line.
We were. Oh my god, that's such a long line. So stupid me. I'm like, you know what? I never properly sat down and played the second quest of the
Yeah.
NES game. So I'll do the second quest, and of course, you jump into the second quest by typing Zelda as your name.
Yeah.
Now, I practiced leading up to this, and it's on the YouTube, on our YouTube channel. You can tell which one's the second quest because my gameplay is much shorter than Anthony's gameplay.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Not by
going
much though.
into no, I did try. I tried.
You played a good hour and a half.
I did because I started getting mad, and we'll talk about that in a moment. So now going into this, I know nothing about the second quest, meaning where everything is.
Right.
So I knew it was going to be a little boring to watch because I was going to have to map out and try and find everything. Well, the first walkthrough I pulled up on my computer was absolutely useless. I should have figured it was from IGN. So that helped me nowhere. So then I
Game
pulled up Game
facts.
Facts.
Game
Much
facts.
better.
Always the
Much
way to
better.
go.
Much better. And I actually forgot this when I started it, the practice run. When you start the second quest, not only is everything moved around for the most part, but also the hits are worse. Like it's double
Yes.
hits or something like that. All right, let's just get into the meat and potatoes. So first, I was going to start to run. I was going to try and get the blue ring. Figured, let's get off the start, try and get the blue ring. Well, no one was dropping rupees for anything. And
Mm.
trying to find the rupees using the stupid IGN run through was taking me a half hour to begin with. And I'm
Yep.
like, I want to let me get to a dungeon. And we'll get into you joining the chat and everyone else joining the chat in a moment. So the first dungeon of the second quest is in the same spot. So that's good. but it's designed different. In fact, for the most part, all of the levels spell out Zelda. Well, there's nine, so I don't know
But
what the other ones spell
yeah,
out.
five of the levels are the actual letters
Yeah,
Zelda. Yeah.
yeah. So I go in there, I go into the first room, get killed in like 30 seconds, like Dunsky. So I'm like, all right, now I've been doing that in practice. I'm used to it.
Okay.
I barely get through the first dungeon because I couldn't find anything. I was trying to find the treasure or whatever. And having you guys on the chat, I don't know what it was like on your end, Dan, but everyone knows there is a delay with chat. And I
Oh,
was
yes.
using, I'm pulling the curtain back. I was recording, I was streaming with OBS. So there's even a longer delay for
Yep.
me to see the chat. So when I'm moving around, I'm like, oh, where do I got to go for this? And then I appreciate everyone's help. Don't get me wrong. I do. But when the chat starts coming, go left, go right, go west, 20 seconds after I've already moved on three
Yep.
screens, unfortunately doesn't help too much. But you guys were trying. But I could not. The frustration level was epic, folks. I couldn't deal with it.
Yeah.
I couldn't deal with the second. The goal was to complete the game. That quickly shrunk down to just getting through the first dungeon.
Yes. Well, no, then we set
Anthony,
another goal. Yes.
yes. Then Anthony suggested get through the first four,
Yeah.
right? Because you figure, okay,
the first four are absolutely doable. They are doable.
according to who, I don't know. But all right, I'll try the first four.
Yeah.
I'll give it a whirl. Barely got through the first dungeon. And I'm trying to earn rupees. Again, I moved on from there. Now I'm in the second dungeon. So the quickly went from completing the game to just get through four dungeons, to just get through two dungeons, to just don't have a cardiac arrest screaming while playing this game live on the internet.
Yes, and it was, can I just say, it
You
was
can.
entertaining, but for all the wrong reasons.
Here's why I honestly don't mind talking about it. It was so real.
Yes.
My frustration, my anger was real.
Yep.
That second dungeon, I couldn't do anything in there.
Yeah.
Well, that's a lie. I get to the boss.
You kept getting to the boss, yes. But you couldn't beat him.
But to get through him, because someone recommended to use bombs, that didn't work.
Yeah,
Thank
that
you.
didn't work. I thought it worked on that guy.
The expert here, folks, telling me to use bombs. I'm like, he's
Well, no,
not blinking when I use the bombs.
I've always told you the second quest I've only played through twice, so I'm an expert at the second quest.
um, I must have. Well, later on, I didn't realize what the count was. When it all said and done, I died what 17 times
17 times.
in an hour and a half.
Yeah, and I probably about like 12 of those were for the second boss.
Exactly, 12, more than half were on the second dungeon.
More than half, yes.
The repeat, and you see, because I got to the point where I shoved the mic away from my face.
Yep.
I was done talking.
Yep.
And I was focused on trying to just get through the level.
Yep. And we were cheering you on.
You were. Oh, I had the support of all of you in the chat. I really did.
Even a bot.
I don't think he was a bot. I think he was legit.
No. I don't think she was a bot.
I know. You're teasing. I know. But I had everyone's support. But the problem was I stopped reading the chat, so
yes,
I didn't know what was going on too much. And I just, after like the seventh attempt at beating this stupid two-headed dragon, I was just like, you know what? I'm going to bed. Good night, everybody. I have not been that mad. Frustrated is one thing.
Yeah.
You can enjoy a game and still be frustrated. I was mad at this.
Oh, yes.
And I don't know when I'm going back, to be honest with you. I don't know if I'm going to go back and try
to the second quest, probably not. Well, I will offer you the opportunity to redeem yourself for the second quest.
I'm already going to try Rhyme. What do you want me to do now?
Okay. No. I'll tell you where, not necessarily where you kind of went wrong, so to speak, but
I went wrong by turning the system on.
Well, yeah, there's that. My general strategy for Zelda in either quest is always to get the first dungeon out of the way. The first dungeon is usually pretty easy. Even in both quests, it's not that bad. But after that first dungeon, My goal is always to get the blue ring and get the white sword. So get enough hearts so you can get the white sword because you only need 5 hearts to get the white sword. So once you get the white sword, getting through like the two-headed dragon is insanely easier. That and the
I'm
blue
sure it
ring,
is.
yeah, that and the blue ring, I think honestly, you would have been able to coast your way through 4 dungeons.
Or at least the blue ring. Maybe not the white sword, but at least the blue ring. And I was farming for it. I had
Yeah.
the coins, but then to trek all to that point, to be honest with you, I was gunning for the blue ring.
Yeah.
I forgot how to get the white sword, but I was gunning for the blue ring. But it was getting boring. Admittedly, that's why I kind of stopped because it was kind of getting boring for the viewers, and I knew it was taking too long. Plus, like I said, I had to stop and see where everything is.
Yep.
Even though the blue ring's like in the all the way in the upper corner of the
Yep.
of the map anyway. But that's why I kind of moved on. I'm like, all right, I'll try and get that later. Let me at least get through the dungeon.
Yep.
You know, and I kept getting close. I don't know how close I got.
Yeah.
But you're right, Andy. Like if I would have gotten through the second dungeon, then I would have went for the
Blue ring. Yeah.
blue ring. Again, not knowing where everything is, I probably would have waited for the white sword until I had hearts through dungeons. You know what I mean? Um, so, but nevertheless, that's what ifs. I wanted to throw because I played on the Switch. I did not throw it out the window, thank God, because the Switch 2 is not here yet. But that's the benefits of having all digital games. So
Yes.
yeah, I can just replace them. Um, but yeah, I was not happy. I'm still
Yeah.
not happy.
No, and that's okay. I think
No, it's not.
no, no, no. It's okay. Like I give you an A for effort. I just think like I would urge you to go back and try it. Just take a different strategy because when you're playing, no, because when you're playing on your own, when you're not playing on YouTube, you can take all the time you want to get the coins and go get the rupees and get the blue ring. And
Yeah.
I honestly think once you get that, you can sail through a lot of the second quest because you'll get through a bunch. You'll get the Master Sword eventually. I don't think you'll have an issue at that point. So I don't want you to write off the second quest. It's just a fun way to go through the game again. So
Okay.
the
At
replayability,
at
yeah,
some point, I will try it again.
okay.
That I
So it'll
promise.
be in like 6 years, like Castlevania 2, when you said you would play through
That
that.
is a very strong possibility, to be
That
honest
is
with you.
very yes. And I'd like to take a quick side note to our friend Charlie, lover of VB Sucks, who messaged me on the side and told me that he saw the way I played the first quest and wasn't impressed. And I'm like, hey,
Wow.
I was like, hey, I beat it. I was like, what do you want from me?
Yeah.
So,
Totally.
um,
Totally. Yeah.
but Charlie,
Rude.
we still love you. But look, I appreciated the fact that you did it. It was a valiant effort. Yes, you failed, but still, I'm glad you tried.
Well, thank you. We'll see what happens moving forward if I ever try this again.
Yes, and as punishment, you get to pick this week's game of the week. So
I
you can throw
am
it right back in my face.
no, I'm not going to because this pick is it's going to be of the frustration that I had so much. I need a calming game. I need to
Okay.
relax with the game,
Oh boy.
and what I'm going to recommend. I know is very on the nose and very limited, but sometimes these games not everyone's going to have available too. But the game is so widespread, really any version of it you can play. In honor of the game dropping recently, I'm going to recommend a calming game of Tetris.
Okay.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Play any version of Tetris you want. Game Boy, NES, arcade. Doesn't matter what you want.
Okay.
If you have it though, play Tetris DS on the DS. Like I
Okay.
said, it's one of my favorite games of all time. And yes, I will, might not be live, but I will do my best to do a recording to play the Tetris DS to show you some of the gameplay of it. And
Yeah, I don't know how
again,
you
I
would
know,
live stream that.
I mean, I could through my phone, but
Oh, true.
it most likely won't be a live stream. It'll be a video.
Okay.
But nevertheless, play all because, like I said, that Tetris Forever, worth it. But Tetris DS, worth it. So
Sweet.
technically speaking, Tetris DS is the game of the week.
Awesome. All right. Tetris DS it is.
All right. And with that, folks, before we start wrapping things up and before we get into the final segment, and where can they find us?
Oh yeah, true. You guys can find us at Facebook.com/RetroGamersPodcast, at Instagram at RetroGamersPodcast, on Twitter at
Yes.
RetroGamersPod. You can listen to us wherever you listen to podcasts. You can watch us on YouTube and Spotify at RetroGamersPodcast, or you can email us at email@theretrogamers.com.
Yes. And with that, Ant, do we have any news?
Yeah, we got quite a bit of news actually this week, so I'm gonna plow
Let's
my
do it.
way. I'm gonna plow my way through this.
Let's do it.
There is a new Sonic game from Sega that you are
Is
not
there
aware
really?
of, and I am
What?
not aware of. It is arriving Q1 of 2025, but there's a catch. There's a
Oh,
catch to this one.
always.
This Sonic game is not available on any major console.
What?
You can
Is it a
only play.
Christmas ornament?
Nope. You can only play this Sonic game at Top Golf venues across the US and in Glasgow, Scotland. It is called Top Golf Sonic the Hedgehog, and
Okay,
it
that's
is,
pretty
and,
straightforward.
yep, and it is developed solely to play at Top Golf. So the game will utilize Top Golf's ball tracing technology to allow attendees to practice their swing while enabling Sonic, Tails, Amy, and Knuckles to race across Green Hill Zone and Sky Sanctuary in an effort to climb the leaderboards.
Oh my God, I want to play this. I
So
want to play this right now.
it comes out early next year. Once it does, Larry, I think we should hit up a Top Golf. Is there a Top Golf around here somewhere?
Yes, I feel like I saw one. Yes, there
Okay.
is one on Long Island in Holtzville.
All right.
I don't remember how close that is to me, but there is one out on the island.
I have a feeling we're gonna have to. Well, you won't. You'll be doing a guest spot at that point, but we can go on location. We can go on location and record some
Yeah,
time at
don't
Top
rub it
Golf.
in.
How's that sound?
No,
Well,
sounds good
no,
to me.
look, I'm not trying to
I
rub it in
know.
your face. I'm just like,
I'm
if I'm
teasing.
planning for next year, you're not here.
No, that's true. Actually, there's one in Edison, New Jersey. Just talking locally
Okay,
here. Philly.
nice.
One is in Philly. There's a 3 floor. Oh, they're mostly all 3 floors. I wonder why they got to be big.
Yep.
Oh yeah, no, they're for the most part they're all over the place. But here in the tri-state area, Long Island, Edison, New Jersey. I know it's not part of the tri-state, but Philadelphia as well. So check them out.
Yep. So yeah, some Top Golf. Okay. In let's talk more entertainment news. I
Okay.
did not organize my news, so it's all
Oh no,
all
wow, that
over.
was a one
Sorry.
week. Congratulations.
It was a 1 week thing. I ran out of time because there was more news than I planned. Like I was like, wow, I want to talk about all these things. Um, Lara Croft, Tomb Raider, very, very,
Okay.
been very, very popular. I got to go
Heard of
back
it.
and finish. I got to go back and finish the animated series on Netflix. I haven't
Oh
got
yeah.
through. I think I got through like 3 or 4 episodes so far.
Okay.
So I'm a good chunk in. But there is a live action Tomb Raider series coming to Prime Video.
Oh okay.
I'm not sure if you were aware of that, but back in
I feel like I
May,
might have heard about this. Yeah.
yeah, Amazon announced it back in May that they're working on it. Now, according to Deadline Online, um, the actress currently in negotiations to play Lara Croft is none other than Sophie Turner from Game of
Ooh,
Thrones, and
yes.
you may
And she
also
was
know
Jean
her
Grey.
as Jean Grey from X-Men Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix,
Yeah.
two X-Men movies we don't want to talk about.
I didn't mind Dark Phoenix.
I minded them; it was bad. So both of them were bad. So anyway, again, it's not set in stone yet, so we'll wait and see if that happens.
I can
Uh,
see her playing Laura. Okay.
I think she can pull off Lara Croft. I
Yeah, I
really
think
do.
so. I
So
think so.
so we'll
Yeah.
see if that actually takes
Okay.
place. It'll be really, really cool. I'm trying to see if I had any other movie news, but everything's all over the place, like I said. So we're
Actually,
just gonna
just
move
real
on.
fast,
Yeah.
in setting everything up for the fight last night on Netflix, I
Hmm.
did see coming out, just mention it, there's a Splinter Cell anime coming out on Netflix. We
Ooh.
talked about a Devil May Cry. That's coming out soon. They're
Yep.
advertising it on Netflix. I feel like there was one more game related one, but I can't remember now. So, but at least Splinter, and I love Splinter Cell. I love that series. So I'm
Okay.
looking forward to that. Lee Schreiber is playing the lead in that one.
Oh, nice. That'll be
Yeah,
interesting.
he's good. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. The only other bit of entertainment news I have is remember, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, but I talked about how there was this Castlevania musical coming to Japan.
Yes.
Yep.
I have a whip. Yes.
Yes. Right. I have a whip. I will whip you. Oh, wait, that's something different. Uh, there is another stage play adaptation being done to celebrate, and this will be in Japan. It is to celebrate the 30th anniversary of um, I'm sorry, Trials of Mana. You know,
Oh,
the Secret of Mana series,
yeah,
Trials of Mana.
yeah.
So it's celebrating its 30th anniversary next year in Japan. And they're
Wow,
doing
that's 30.
yeah, and they're doing a stage adaptation.
Interesting.
So the play will run from March 7th to March 16th. So it's a very small
Oh,
window.
very small window. Yeah.
Very, very small window. Well, actually, I'm sorry.
Is it a
March,
school that's doing
I'm
it?
sorry, it's traveling a bit. March
Oh,
7th to March 16th at the Sunshine Theater in Akibokuro, Tokyo.
okay.
April 4th to April 6th at the TT Hall at Cool Japan Park in Osaka.
Okay.
So tickets are going on sale. Actually, tickets went on sale November 18th
Excellent.
for or advanced ticket sales. And then general ticket sales go February 2nd.
All
So
righty.
there you go. So more stage plays based on video games. Some anniversaries, since we just talked about Trials of Mana is going to be 30. Earthbound is celebrating its 30th anniversary
Oh,
in Japan, or it celebrated
ouch.
it earlier this year. Earthbound.
Okay.
Okay. So starting on November 30th, they're releasing some anniversary merch, 30th anniversary merch.
Okay.
It might only be, I think it's only in Japan. And it's they have a whole bunch of merch for it. But
Mhm.
one of the most popular things I'm sure it's going to be is a Mr. Saturn plush and blanket.
Okay.
There's a Mr. Saturn plush and blanket, I'm sorry, a Mr. Saturn piggy bank, zipper
Oh,
bags, memo pads, mugs, laundry pouches, and some glass mugs based on the multiple towns in Eagle Land.
okay.
So all Earthbound related stuff. There's going to be some branded cookies, a Franklin badge, a
Cool.
yo-yo,
I'm in.
tote bags featuring the four main characters, Ness, Paula, Jeff, and Pooh.
Oh,
So
oh.
if you're an Earthbound fan, go to Nintendo's official website, and you can possibly purchase yourself some 30th anniversary merch starting November 30th.
Absolutely. And if you can't find it on Earthbound, remember Mother 2. That's what it is in Japan.
Mother,
Mother
yes,
2.
Mother
Yeah.
2 is the other one. Okay.
Very cool.
Another anniversary. Pokemon Gold and Silver are turning 25
Yeah.
or have turned
God.
25. I don't remember. I think it's already turned 25. I'm sorry. But again,
No, no. November 21st,
oh, November 21st, it's 25.
I
That's right.
believe.
Yeah, it's same day
Yep.
as the DS.
Yep.
So Pokemon Gold and Silver are turning 25 November 21st. On November 23rd, there is 25th anniversary commemorative merchandise. There's a whole bunch of stuff: jackets, mugs, a trash can, bean plates, bookends, marker pens, memo pads, cartridge cases, key rings, puzzles, milk chocolate, stuffed
Ooh,
toys, and much more. Again, you can look for it. You can look for it online. I believe again, it's going to be on the Pokemon Company Japan website.
okay.
So check that out if you want any Pokemon Gold and Silver merchandise,
What
anniversary
could the
merchandise.
trash can look like?
It looks like a trash can.
Oh, that was like shaped like a
No,
Pokemon
it's a
itself.
regular
Literally a trash can.
it's a
Yeah.
small trash can with like the art
Very,
around it.
very boring.
The jackets look really cool, I will say.
They're holiday.
There's a black jacket with gold sleeves and a black jacket with silver sleeves.
Unreal. I just went to the Pokemon Center, what PokemonCenter.com. They have a whole holiday section of like holiday plates and everything. I'm not a Pokemon fan, but these things actually look pretty cool.
That
Dinnerware.
does not surprise me at all.
Yeah, interesting.
Um, all right, very cool on that front. And then oh funny, there was an ad on there, Larry. I'm just gonna throw at you because I just clicked on it to see the
Hmm.
news. But on there is a book, since we're talking about the Nintendo DS, there is a book called A Handheld History. It's a 270 page book,
Whoa.
covers over 30 consoles, and it is currently sold over 15,000 copies. And it literally is just a history of handhelds.
I like the sound of
Uh,
that. I have to check that out.
yeah, so that might be a book for you. It is available on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and several other places.
Barnes and Noble.
Yep.
Who shops there still?
I do. Actually, I am still a Barnes and Noble member.
They still have books.
They still have books, and I still buy them.
Good
Just
God.
not as much as I used to. All right, moving on to gaming. Okay, this really excited me because I forgot that this was coming out. I believe we talked about it a while ago when it was first announced, but it has officially released. It is a Castlevania tribute style game starring the original Dracula himself, Bela Lugosi.
I don't think we ever did talk about this. I saw this
Okay.
and I
I
want to
thought we
get
talked
it.
about, yeah. So it's called Carpathian Night starring Bela Lugosi.
Bela
It
Lugosi.
re it revives Lugosi's actual portrayal as Dracula in Nosferatu. And
No, in
they
Dracula.
in Dracula, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Nosferatu, I'm going too far back. My bad. In
Yeah, that went way
Dracula,
back. Yep.
1931's Dracula. Um, and they actually, the developers of the game worked closely with Lugosi's granddaughter to make sure that he was included in the game as factually as possible.
Yeah,
Um,
and like the Lugosi company that runs his history or whatever they call
yeah,
it.
Lugosi Enterprises. Yeah.
Yeah, and his granddaughter's not hard to find because she's at every Chiller Theater, first of all, in New Jersey. Her and what's his face, who played Frankenstein's monster, excuse me.
Oh yeah.
Um, I can't remember his name, but
Oh my
those
God,
two
his name just fell out
granddaughters,
of my head. Oh,
Boris
it
Karloff,
hurts.
Boris
Thank
Karloff.
you. Thank you.
Those granddaughters are always selling merch and getting autographs. I'm like, okay, you're cool, but your grandfather is the one I want to get an autograph of, but he's long dead. But to see Bela Lugosi in this style game,
Yep.
I'm definitely all in on purchasing this one.
Yeah, and since we were talking about these games earlier, it mirrors the like a Game Boy Advance style Castlevania game like Harmony of Dissonance or Aria of Sorrow.
Yep,
That's
yep.
how they're talking about
So
it.
it's a
So
Metroidvania game. It sounds like.
Metroidvania game side scrolling looks really awesome. Currently available in the Switch eShop for 16.99. So this
That's
one's
not bad.
no, this one's definitely on my list. My only question is, will limited run do a physical release? Because then I will buy that.
Well, you won't know until like 9 months after it's already out.
That's fair. That's very true. Okay. Uh, again, handheld news was just popping up this week. I don't know what was going
It
on.
is a birthday, so
Yeah, there was a birthday, but now Xbox has confirmed that they are looking into creating a potential handheld device.
they've been talking about this for a while. I know people are waiting for it,
Yep.
but any new news on it? Yeah.
No new news on it, but
Okay.
apparently it sounds like they're gonna wait and see what happens with the Switch 2 before they make a decision.
Okay.
Because bottom line is like if the Switch 2 owns the market, it might be hard to break into it because like
That is true.
I don't know how well the PS Portal wound up doing.
Not that good, but I wouldn't consider that a handheld. I know you guys,
I
you
know
and Rich
well,
talked
but
about it, but
but to me it is a handheld because
oh, I
it's a
see what you're
handheld
talking about.
PS5 the same way
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Switch can be a handheld, you know?
You know what's funny? I look at them different ways. We can talk about this next in a couple
Yeah.
weeks. I see those differently because the PS, I see them differently. I know what you're
Well,
talking about.
we'll
We'll
talk
talk about
about
it the
it.
next time. Yeah.
We have a topic for next episode.
Yep.
There we go. But anyway, Xbox has confirmed though that they're actually looking into it, so we'll see what happens with that.
Hmm.
In the real world, Super Nintendo world, over in Japan at Universal Studios.
Oh, I saw this. Yes. Did you saw the Nintendo Direct?
Uh, yes, in the
Yes.
Nintendo Direct, Donkey Kong Country
Yep.
expansion at Super Nintendo World opens officially December 11th, 2024. It looks amazing.
They did a walkthrough. Miyamoto did a
Yep.
walkthrough of it. Oh my God, it looks so much fun.
Yeah, it looks
We
great.
got a plan. We got a plan. I mean, I would imagine now you would flip it on the podcast's money. So you would invite me down to Florida when Universal opens up Super Nintendo World down there.
Don't hold your breath. So we'll see. Well, we'll look at that. Well, I thought you were going to say let's go to Japan because I'm up for that. So
I'm dying to go to Japan, but I got to go in January
why in January?
because I got to go to Wrestle Kingdom before I do anything else in Japan.
Oh, will you stop that? What about the Super J Cup tournament in like May and June? You can do that.
No, because that's not Wrestle Kingdom.
Oh, geez. All right, moving on. Larry and his standards. Um, so your precious analog pocket that you love so much.
Oh my God. Hey, the world love
As of November, I want to say November, is it November 14th? Um, Looking at this, there is now an MSX core available for
Ooh,
the analog pocket.
really? I didn't see
Yep,
that.
yep.
I gotta get my thing
Released
updated.
released by Booger Man with two N's at the end.
Booger.
Man, two N's.
Boogerman, yeah.
Yeah. So MSX, yeah. So there's an MSX core for the analog pocket, which I know you will enjoy, and anybody else who
Yeah, yeah.
has an analog pocket. So go look for that, and then
What is
enjoy some
what is
MSX games.
this? Oh my gosh. Okay. So, side note, I while you were talking about that, I visited the website where I normally get my ROMs from for that
Yeah.
stuff, and they are all locked.
Really?
Why can't archive.org is where I go to.
Hmm.
I've gotten them all before. They are all locked. What is going on
Uh-oh.
here?
That's
That's
interesting.
all right. Well, they don't have the MSX core anyway right now, but
All
needless to say,
right.
that sucks.
Well, hopefully, hopefully there will be one.
I hope so.
Um, Sticking to the handheld stuff. Again, one more bit of handheld news.
Hmm.
Valve is releasing a limited edition Steam Deck OLED.
Oh, wow.
It drops this week, the week of November 18th. This
Hmm.
episode drops on the 19th. It is a white Steam Deck OLED.
Ooh, that sounds
It,
fancy.
yep, it will, yeah, well, it will cost you $679.
How much was the
Not,
original one? How much is the one you bought?
uh, I believe I could have sworn the one I bought was 499.
Oh, all right. Not the
And
worst
I
in the
think, but
world,
that
but
was I
okay.
got the small. I got the 500 gig, I think, or
Okay.
the either 256 or 500. I think it was 500. Um, and then the more expensive one was I think a terabyte, if I'm
Okay.
remembering correctly.
Gotcha.
So this device will have the same specs as the 1 terabyte model. So,
All right, cool.
but it has a white and gray design. Actually, to be honest with you, it almost looks like it belongs in the Nintendo family. It's got because it's white body, gray control,
Oh, wow.
buttons and
Yeah, that
controls.
is. Yep.
It's a very Nintendo like item. It
No,
looks
that it
like to me
is.
in pictures.
That it is.
So there's your Steam Deck OLED in white.
Um, quick update. You have to be logged in to archive.org in order to be able to access the stuff.
Oh, that I
So
think that's new.
that made me worry there for a second, but no, I still have access. Still don't see an MSX, but that'll be down the road.
All right, cool. Moving on to this was interesting, and I saw this online. Unreal and Unreal Tournament, two
Okay.
two very popular games from the late '90s, or at least it started in the late '90s, 1998.
Hmm.
Um, so Epic Games has now announced that you can play Unreal and Unreal Tournament for free
Okay.
on the Internet Archive.
That Internet Archive, man. Still don't know how
So
they do it, but cool.
the Internet Archive will host the installation files, which will allow anyone to download and play them. So if you are an
Oh,
Unreal
I
or Unreal
gotcha.
Tournament
Okay.
fan, yep, you can download the games to your computer and play them.
Sounds cool.
So that's really cool. Um, and then another anniversary that was coming out. Blizzard is celebrating its 30th anniversary of
Yes.
Warcraft.
Actually, I was
Right?
watching some of the live stream the other day. Yep.
Yep. And part of that 30th anniversary is you're going to be able to get, I think this is a remaster. Yeah, it's called there was Warcraft Battle Chest, which was
Hmm.
released in 1996. It had three CDs: Warcraft Orcs and Humans, Warcraft 2 Tides of Darkness, and Warcraft 2 Beyond the Dark and Portal. Blizzard announced last week it was releasing an all-new digital version of that collection to celebrate the 30th anniversary of Warcraft. Fresh remasters of the first two titles, and it is available to buy from Battle.net for the PC. Right now, well, the listing price here is 34.99 euros.
I was
So I don't
saying
know.
it's 40
Yeah.
bucks. 40 bucks. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah.
40 bucks.
Yeah, so $40 you can own remasters of the first two Warcrafts.
I might pick this up. I don't know. That's the whole reason why I bought an iMac originally was play World of
Yeah.
Warcraft. Played
I
it for two
I have
months and 29
yeah.
days.
I have never played Warcraft because I used to hear horror stories from friends on how long they would play Warcraft, and I was like, I cannot
Oh,
do that.
it is dedication.
It's an addiction. All right, moving on. Konami Arcade Classic coming to the PS4 and Nintendo Switch. Um, I don't think you remember this game because I know I don't remember this game. It is Konami's Ping Pong.
I
Uh,
I never saw this game before. I saw it listed on Switch. Never
yep.
saw it before.
Originally released in arcades in 1985. It just takes it's a version of ping pong. That's exact table tennis.
That's all it is. Yeah.
Yeah, players being able to compete in single player and multiplayer matches. The winner is the first person to reach 11 points. Um, it was the game was originally released on consoles on the MSX and the Famicom in Japan.
Where where are my ROMs?
Where are your ROMs? In Europe, it wound up on the Amstrad CPC, Commodore 64, and ZX Spectrum.
Okay.
And it also appeared on the Nintendo Wii and the Wii U Virtual Consoles at one point.
In Japan, yeah.
Yeah. So, um, yeah, it was also on the Xbox 360. It was on Windows in 2010. So it was all over the place. But now they're releasing it on the PS4 and the Nintendo Switch so everybody can get their hands on it. If you want to play some ping pong from 1985.
Yeah, I might pick this up. This looks like fun.
Yep. Um, Antstream Arcade, Larry.
Oh
The
boy.
yeah, the system you love so much.
Not only me, but our friend over at
And
Thunderdome
game.
Gaming Society is obsessed with Antstream
Yep.
Arcade.
And I
Love
still
it.
haven't it's on my list. I still haven't bought it. Um, look, I I do everything. I get to everything eventually. I don't just jump. I just don't jump like you do. That's all. Plus you got it on the awful VCS. So
For free.
yes, Amsterdam added 5 PlayStation 1 Net Eurosi titles to Amstream
Oh,
Arcade. I do not know what Net Eurosi. Oh, here in the article I'm reading from Time Extension, Net Eurosi, or however you say that, in case you've never heard of it, it says this on Time Extension,
yeah.
was a development kit released by Sony in 1996 in Japan that allowed groups of hobbyist game developers the chance to create their own video games for the Sony PlayStation.
So homebrews.
Yeah, basically, it was a homebrew thing in '96. So the 5 games that are going to be that are being released on Antstream Arcade or are
Mm-hmm.
already released: Time Slip, Pushy 2B, Bouncer 2, Adventure
Oh,
Game, and Arena. So those games are now available on the Antstream Arcade. Time Slip is a puzzle platformer. Pushy 2B is also a puzzle platformer. Bouncer 2 is a brick breaker game, so kind of like Arkanoid.
Arkanoid.
Yeah,
I
kind of
like
like an
that.
Arkanoid or Breakout.
Yep.
Adventure Game is an exploration-based experience reminiscent of classic RPGs.
Okay.
And then the last one, Arena, they don't give any information on. So, yeah. So anyway, you can check those out on Antstream Arcade if you have it.
Will do. Well, I think right now, at least when we record, I think it's half off on Xbox.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. So Sony, for as far as we know, has been around for over 70 years now. I think it's
Okay.
78
Yeah.
years. 78
Hmm.
years. Sony started in 1946. So it's 78
Nice.
years old. They are celebrating their history by releasing a new book called Sony Year by Year, which
Oh,
is going to
okay.
cover all 7 decades of their existence and what they've released. And the book covers pretty much everything they've ever come out with, like consoles, cassette recorders, Walkmans,
Oh, wow.
TVs, like pretty much everything they've ever done. It's a year by year visual journey of
That's
Sony,
cool.
which is really cool. Um, and you can go check it out on Kickstarter. It is a Kickstarter.
Yes, it is.
It hasn't launched yet. It's launching soon. They don't give
Hmm.
it official. I'm not a big Kickstarter guy, but they don't do an official. They don't tell you when it's launching, do they? Like
You can
you can hit notify you of the launch.
yeah, you
Yeah.
that's how you do it. Yeah,
Yep.
it looks like this is being put out by obsolete Sony.
Yep.
So it's not an official Sony, but it's about Sony. But this looks fun.
Yeah, this looks really cool. Like the sample pages that they have up look really, really cool.
Yeah. It's a coffee
Something
table book.
Yeah, it's a coffee table book. Definitely something to keep an eye on. I'm personally interested from what I've seen just here. So I got to log into my Kickstarter account as soon as I remember the password because I haven't been in there in years, and maybe put this as like a reminder.
I'm going to notify myself for launch. Yeah, this looks
Yep.
interesting.
All right. We're closing in. We have three things left.
Okay, good.
Two. All right. I know we've been going for a while.
No,
Two.
no, I got 14% left on my laptop.
Oh, perfect. Perfect timing. Okay. Two lost Sega Channel games. Two more Sega Channel games have been
Ooh,
found and preserved. This
okay.
time, a little bit simpler games. They were found and preserved by Sonic Retro Forums member N. Diddy.
Careful
And
with that
the
name nowadays.
that I was very yeah, I know. So the two games that were found and restored were Klondike Solitaire and the Chess Master. You remember the
Oh
Chess
my
Master
God.
on NES?
I love chess. I remember Chessmaster, period. I originally had it on the computer, and me
Oh
and my
yeah.
dad would actually play it all the
Yeah.
time. And then, yes, I did get it. Actually, I remember, I think I
Or
had it
was
on
it
Super
Super Nintendo? I
Nintendo.
think I have it on Super Nintendo
I think I had
actually.
Super
Yeah.
Nintendo, actually. I had it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that just pulled back. I might have to go out and get that.
Yeah, you know what? If I remember correctly, I don't remember when I bought it or if I don't remember where I got it, but I think I have it in box.
Ooh,
I think I
nice.
have a copy of it in box. So
Nice.
yeah, so those two things have been recovered and restored, which is
Excellent.
great.
Excellent.
And the game files can be found. I'm clicking on the link as we speak. Oh, shoot. No, I don't want you to download them already.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah, something. Yeah.
yeah, it just auto downloaded from
Yeah.
the site. But yeah, so those two games have been recovered. I saw this article a couple of days ago and it made me laugh. But apparently there's a game getting all of this attention online, a kids gaming getting all of this attention online. It's called Piglet's Big Game. It is a Disney
Okay.
game based on the Winnie the Pooh character Piglet, right?
Yeah. Oh, I remember this game.
All of a sudden, this game is getting a ton of attention, and now the value of it has skyrocketed online
Wow.
because it's being compared to games like Resident Evil and Silent Hill.
Is it really?
They're saying that the game is very dark and spooky, and not only that, the music in the game that somebody has actually done a comparison of the music in the game to the music in the Silent Hill 2 re-release, and it's eerily similar.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's weird. I
So
gotta go back and listen to that.
yeah, so Piglet's Big Game. I had no idea it was so dark because now I'm interested. I want to go check it out.
I remember when it was released, but I don't remember
Yeah,
anyone ever saying that it was dark. I want it
right.
now because probably because of the popularity of Blood and Honey and Blood and
Probably.
Honey
Yeah, that's
2.
what it
Yeah, the
is.
Winnie the Pooh movies. Yeah.
But now like the PlayStation game, the GameCube version of the game, like if you go to eBay now, um, people are selling it or it's being sold for like $80, a hundred
Okay.
bucks.
That's insane.
But if you bought it, but then they have a comparison. If you bought it earlier this year, like in August, like two,
Yeah.
3 months ago, before all of a sudden this came out,
Yeah.
people were selling it for like $5.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is I've always seen this in like the dollar bin almost.
Yeah, it used to go in the dollar bin, but now because of this whole Silent Hill, Resident Evil
Unbelievable.
comparison, people are paying like $100 for this game, which is insane.
Insane.
Piglet's Big Game. All right, the last bit of news and probably the best bit of news I'm going to share with you this week, Larry,
All right.
because this makes me very happy, even though I can't play them because they're in Japanese. Three lost Shining Force games have been preserved.
What?
So ports of Shining Force Chronicle 1, 2, and 3, games
Oh.
that were released on the Android,
Oh.
ha have been preserved by fans. The games are based on the Game Gear Shining Force Gaiden series.
Okay.
Uh, They were first launched in 2005, and then the Android ports came in 2011. And you were only
Okay.
able to get the Android versions through the Puyo Sega subscription services. These are Japanese only; they're not in
Interesting.
English. But
Interesting.
they were removed from purchase a long time ago. And the person who saved them, his name is Rockman Cosmo.
Okay.
And if you look him up on X, that's his name, Rockman
Mhm.
Cosmo. He made the announcement on there and showed them off. Again, they're in Japanese, so impossible for us to play unless we learn Japanese.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I've been watching a lot of Godzilla, so I might be fluent in
You
Japanese
may
very shortly.
or dubbed, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, so you'll be able to run your mouth that say different words while you're talking. But yeah, so Shining Force Chronicle 1, 2, and 3. If you want to check it out
Interesting.
online, you can just go to Rockman Cosmos X page.
I'll have
And
to
that
check
is
that out.
all I have for retro news.
All
And
right.
beat the battery.
We have. I got about 10% left. And one more time, where can they find us?
You guys can find us on Facebook.com/Retro Gamers Podcast, on Instagram at Retro Gamers Podcast, on Twitter at Retro Gamers
X.
Pod. You can listen to us wherever you listen to podcasts. You can watch us on YouTube and Spotify at Retro Gamers Podcast, or you can email us at email@theretrogamers.com.
All right. With that, we're going to call it a week. Remember, folks, next week we're dropping a lost episode. So we will be back in 2 weeks. And have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
You have a wonderful Thanksgiving as well. And to everybody out there, have a very, very happy Thanksgiving and hopefully a very beneficial Black Friday. May all your
Yes.
games be on sale.
Yes. And we will catch you everywhere. We will catch you next week right here on the Retro Gamers Podcast.